Tae-min stood in the cargo bay of the Meridian's edge, his hand resting on the cold metal wall. The ship hummed around him, a constant vibration that most people learn to ignore after a few days in space. He never ignored it. After 15 years as a soldier and 5 more as a mercenary, Tae-min trusted nothing. Not the ship, not the crew, and certainly not the job. The job was simple. Captain Hae-won had hired him to guard cargo during a run through the outer spiral. She did not say what the cargo was. She did not say why it needed guarding. She just offered enough credits to keep him fed for 6 months. That was all Tae-min needed to know. He walked the length of the cargo hold, boots echoing on the metal floor. Large containers lined the walls, sealed tight and labeled with symbols he did not recognize. One container drew his attention. It was bigger than the others and seemed to pulse with heat. He placed his palm against it. Warm. Almost hot. Curious. Tae-min turned. Captain Hae-won stood in the doorway, her gray hair tied back, her face weathered from decades in space. She looked at him with sharp eyes that missed nothing. "Temperature readings are off," Tae-min said. "What is in there?" Hae-won walked closer, her expression unreadable. "Nothing that concerns you. You are here to keep thieves away, not ask questions. If something goes wrong with the cargo, it becomes my problem." "Nothing will go wrong," Hae-won said firmly. "We will reach the way station tomorrow, refuel, and continue to our destination." Simple. Tae-min studied her face. She was hiding something, but most employers did. He had learned long ago not to dig too deep. The less he knew, the easier it was to walk away when things got messy. And things always got messy. "Fine," he said. "I will be in my quarters." Back in his small cabin, Tae-min sat on a narrow bunk and activated his comm device. A familiar face appeared on the screen. Ji-woo, his younger sister, smiled at him from her research station thousands of light years away. "You look terrible," she said cheerfully. "I always look terrible," Tae-min replied. "True. Where are you this time?" "Somewhere in the outer spiral. Cargo escort." Ji-woo frowned. "That is danger space. Pirates and raiders everywhere. That is why they pay me. When are you going to stop doing this? Find something safe?" Tae-min almost smiled. They had this conversation every time they talked. "Safe is boring." "Safe is alive," Ji-woo said quietly. The humor left his face. Ji-woo worried about him. She always had, even when they were children, and he joined the military. She studied alien biology while he fought wars. 2 different paths, but they remained close. "I will be careful," he said. "You always say that." "This time I mean it." She laughed. "Liar. Just come back safe, okay?" "Okay." The screen went dark. Tae-min sat in silence, staring at nothing. Safe. The word felt foreign in his mouth. He had not felt safe since he was a child. The galaxy was too big, too dangerous, too full of people trying to survive by taking from others. Safety was an illusion. The next day, the Meridian's edge dropped out of faster-than-light travel near a small way station. The structure hung in space like a metal spider, its docking arms reaching out. Ships came here to refuel, trade, and disappear into the black. It was neutral ground, supposedly. Tae-min checked his weapons while Hae-won guided the ship toward a docking port. Everything seemed normal. Too normal. His instincts prickled. "Captain," the navigator called out, "I am picking up movement behind the asteroid field." Hae-won tensed. "How many?" "4 ships." "No, 5. They are powering weapons." "Raiders," Tae-min said, already moving toward the bridge. "Krell Syndicate markings?" The navigator nodded. "Yes." "How did you know?" "Because this was a trap." The first plasma bolt hit their shields. The ship rocked. Alarms blared. Hae-won cursed and pulled the ship hard to the left, but the raiders were fast. Professional. They knew exactly where to hit. "Guess out of here." Hae-won shouted. The engineer shook his head. "Engines are damaged. We cannot jump." Another hit. The shields flickered. Tae-min grabbed a rifle from the weapons locker and headed for the airlock. If they could not run, they would have to fight. "They are boarding," the navigator yelled. Tae-min reached the main corridor just as the airlock exploded inward. Smoke filled the hallway. Figures moved through it, armed and armored. Krell mercenaries, known for their brutality and greed. He fired. The first raider dropped. The second ducked behind cover and returned fire. Taemin moved like he had been trained, using the narrow corridor to his advantage. One target at a time. Controlled bursts. Breathe. 2 more raiders went down, but more kept coming. Too many. They pushed him back, step by step, toward the cargo hold. The cargo, one of the raiders shouted. Get to the cargo. So that was it. They were not here for the ship. They wanted whatever Hae-Won was carrying. Taemin fell back into the cargo bay, sealing the door behind him. It would not hold long. He needed a plan. That was when he saw the containers. One of them was open. The heat he had felt before now poured out in waves. Inside, surrounded by strange machinery and glowing crystals, were eggs. Large eggs, each one the size of his torso, covered in scales that shimmered like metal. Dragon eggs. Taemin had heard stories. Dragons were ancient, powerful, and rare. They kept to themselves on their home world and had little contact with other species. Their eggs were worth a fortune on the black market, enough to start wars. One egg was cracked. A tiny creature pushed its way out, no bigger than a cat. It had scales the color of fire, small wings folded against his body, and eyes that glowed like embers. The hatchling looked at Taemin, and he felt something strange. A connection, recognition. The door behind him buckled. The raiders were breaking through. Taemin looked at the escape pod on the far wall. He could reach it in 5 seconds. Seal the door. Eject. Survive. The raiders would take the eggs and leave. Simple. The hatchling made a small sound, almost like a whimper. The door burst open. Raiders poured in, weapons raised. One of them held a small device. Taemin recognized it immediately. An explosive charge. Strong enough to crack the eggs without destroying them. They would blast the containers open, take what they wanted, and leave the rest to die in space. The raider armed the charge and threw it toward the containers. Taemin did not think. He moved. His body acted before his mind could catch up. He dove, not toward the escape pod, but toward the hatchling. He grabbed the tiny dragon and covered it with his own body just as the charge detonated. The blast was fire and thunder. Pain exploded through him. He felt his ribs crack, his skin burn, his breath torn from his lungs. The world became white noise and agony. But under him, the hatchling was safe. Taemin's vision darkened. He could not breathe, could not move. Blood filled his mouth. Somewhere far away, he heard shouting, felt the ship shake again, heard more explosions. The raiders were fleeing. Something had scared them off. The hatchling crawled out from under him. It looked at his broken body with those glowing eyes. Then it did something strange. It placed one tiny claw on his chest, right over his heart. Warmth spread through him. Not the warmth of fire, but something gentler, something ancient. The pain did not go away, but it felt distant, like it was happening to someone else. Taemin's last thought before darkness took him was simple and strange. He had spent 20 years fighting for money, for survival, for nothing that really mattered. But in his final moment, he had chosen differently. He had chosen to protect something small and helpless, something that could not protect itself. For the first time in a very long time, Taemin felt like he had done something right. Then everything went black. Taemin woke to light, not the harsh white light of a ship's medical bay, but something softer, golden, warm. He tried to sit up and gasped. His body should hurt. He had felt his ribs break, felt the fire burn his skin, but there was no pain. He looked down at himself. His clothes were gone, replaced by a simple white robe. His skin was unmarked except for thin silver lines that traced across his chest and arms. They glowed faintly, like light trapped under his skin. He touched one of the lines. It felt warm. "You are awake." Taemin spun around. The voice was inside his head, not his ears. It felt gentle but ancient, like the voice of mountains or stars. In front of him sat the hatchling, but it was not small anymore. The dragon was now the size of a large dog, its scales shimmering red and gold, its wings folded against its back. Those same glowing eyes watched him with what looked like joy. "What happened?" Taemin asked. His voice came out rough, like he had not used it in days. The dragon tilted its head. "You saved me. You gave your life for mine, so I gave mine for yours." "I do not understand." A new voice filled his mind. Older, deeper. "Few do, child of the Guardians." Taemin turned. His breath caught. A dragon stood at the entrance to the chamber. Not a hatchling. A true dragon. Massive. Its scales were the color of old silver, its eyes like molten gold. Wings that could blot out the sun folded against a body the size of a building. Power radiated from it like heat from a fire. He took a step back. Every instinct screamed danger. But the dragon did not move. It simply watched him with those ancient eyes. "Do not fear," the voice said. "I am Ashscale, elder of my kind. You are safe here." "Where is here?" "Drakenheim, the home world of dragons." Taemin looked around properly for the first time. The chamber was carved from crystal that caught and reflected light in 1,000 colors. Through an opening in the wall, he could see mountains. Not normal mountains. These glowed with inner fire, their peaks floating in the air, held up by nothing he could see. The sky was purple and gold, streaked with colors that had no name. "How did I get here?" "We brought you," Ashscale said. "When Ember called for help, we came. We found you dying, protecting her with your last breath. We could not let such sacrifice go unanswered." The small dragon, Ember, moved closer to Taemin. She pressed her head against his hand. He felt warmth and something else. Gratitude. Love. The bond between them was real, tangible, like a thread connecting their hearts. "You should have died," Ashscale continued. "But Ember would not let you go. She shared her life force with you. Our healers did the rest. They rebuilt your body, cell by cell, using our ancient knowledge. The silver marks you bear are where we repaired the damage." Taemin touched the glowing lines again. They had saved him, brought him back from death. He should feel grateful. He should feel amazed. Instead, he felt confused. "Why?" he asked. "I am just a human, just a mercenary. Why go through all this trouble?" Ashscale moved closer. Even though the dragon was gentle, its presence filled the room like a storm. When it spoke again, its voice carried weight that made the air vibrate. "Because you awaken what we thought was lost forever. The bond, the sacred connection between human and dragon that has not existed for thousands of years." "I do not know what that means." "Then come, I will show you." Ashscale led him through corridors of crystal and stone. Ember walked beside Taemin, her presence a constant comfort. Other dragons watched as they passed. Some were curious. Some seemed angry. All of them stared at him like he was something impossible. They entered a massive chamber, the Hall of Memory. Ashscale called it. The walls were made of living crystal that pulsed with inner light. As Taemin watched, images formed in the crystal, moving pictures of the past. He saw dragons flying alongside humans, not fleeing from them or fighting them. Together, partners. The humans rode on the backs of dragons, and together they faced creatures of nightmare, beings of shadow and void that wanted to consume everything. Long ago, Ashscale said, there was a war. The Great Silence, we called it. Creatures from beyond the stars tried to destroy all life. Humans and dragons fought side by side to stop them. Your people call themselves the Dragon's Guard. Protectors, warriors, friends. The images shifted. He saw humans and dragons standing together in victory. He saw celebrations. He saw bonds being formed, like connecting human hearts to dragon hearts, just like the bond he felt with Ember. We won the war, Ashscale continued, but the cost was terrible. Many died, both dragons and humans. When it ended, your people made a choice. They wanted to forget the war, forget the pain, forget the bond. They spread across the stars, building new lives, new civilizations, and we let them go. The images showed dragons withdrawing to their home world. They showed humans forgetting generation after generation, until the Dragon's Guard became myth, until dragons became stories that parents told children. We thought the bond was broken forever, Ashscale said quietly. We thought humans had lost the capacity for it, lost the honor and courage that made it possible. But you proved us wrong. Tae-min stared at the images. They felt true, deep in his bones, in places he did not know existed. He felt the truth of them. Humans and dragons, together, protectors. I am not special, he said. I could not let her die. That is exactly what makes you special. Ash Scale replied. The bond does not choose the strong or the perfect. It chooses the honorable. Those who will sacrifice themselves for others without thinking of reward. Before Tae-min could respond, another dragon entered the chamber. This one was younger than Ash Scale, but still massive. Its scales were deep blue like the ocean, and its eyes held suspicion. Elder, the blue dragon said, the council demands to see the human. They do not believe what you have told them. Ash Scale sighed. It sounded like wind through caves. Very well, Stormwing, take him to the council chamber, but treat him with respect. He is a guardian, whether they accept it or not. Stormwing looked at Tae-min with cold eyes. A guardian, we shall see. The council chamber was even larger than the Hall of Memory. Dragons of every color and size filled the space. They sat in a circle around a central platform where Tae-min stood with Ember beside him. The weight of their attention pressed down on him like physical force. A black dragon with silver horns spoke first. Its voice was sharp. This is a human? This weak creature that we are supposed to believe is a guardian. Counselor Darkfong, Ash Scale said calmly, you see the bond with your own eyes. The light connects them. It cannot be faked. I see light, Darkfong replied. But I also remember history. Humans abandoned us. They chose to forget. Why should we trust them now? Because one of them died to save a hatchling, another dragon said. This one was green with kind eyes. That speaks to character, Darkfong. Or it speaks to stupidity, Darkfong shot back. One act does not erase centuries of abandonment. Tae-min listened to them argue about him like he was not there. Finally, he had enough. You are right, he said loudly. The chamber fell silent. Every dragon, I turned to him. You are right to doubt humans, Tae-min continued. We are not perfect. We make mistakes. We forget important things. We choose easy paths over right ones. I am proof of that. I spent 20 years fighting for money, not caring about anything beyond my next meal. I was selfish and cold. He touched his chest, feeling Ember's presence through the bond. But in one moment, something changed. I saw a helpless creature about to die, and I could not walk away. Not because I am special, not because I remembered some ancient bond, just because it was the right thing to do. Maybe that is what the bond really is. Not magic or destiny, just a choice to do right when it costs everything. The chamber remained silent. Then Ash Scale spoke. Well said, young guardian. The council will consider your words. Darkfong stood. Consider? There is nothing to consider. If he is truly a guardian, let him prove it. Let him face the trial of flames. Several dragons shifted uncomfortably. Stormwing actually looked surprised. The trial has not been given in thousands of years, Stormwing said. Exactly, Darkfong replied. Because there have been no guardians. If this human is what Ash Scale claims, he will survive. If not, we will know the bond is a lie. Tae-min looked at Ash Scale. What is this trial? The old dragon met his eyes. A test of courage and will. You would face the burning labyrinth alone. No weapons, no help, only your mind and heart. And if I refuse, then the council would decide you are not worthy, Darkfong said with satisfaction, and you will be returned to your people. Tae-min felt Ember press against his leg. She was afraid, not for herself, but for him. The bond let him feel her emotions as clearly as his own. He thought about his old life, the mercenary work, the empty years, the constant running from anything that meant something. He had died once already. Maybe it was time to start living. I will do it, he said. Ash Scale looked sad, but not surprised. Very well. The trial begins at dawn. Dawn on Drakenheim was like nothing Tae-min had ever seen. 3 suns rose over the floating mountains, painting the sky in colors of gold, orange, and deep purple. He stood at the entrance to the burning labyrinth, a massive cave mouth that glowed with inner fire. Heat poured from it in waves. Ember stood beside him, her small body tense with worry. Through their bond, he felt her fear, not for herself, for him. "You do not have to do this," she said in his mind. "Yes, I do," Taemin replied quietly. If I want to be worthy of you, you are already worthy. You died for me. That was just one moment. This is about proving I can be more than what I was." Ash Scale approached, her massive form blocking out one of the suns. Behind her stood Stormwing and several other dragons from the council. Darkfang watched from a distance, his expression cold. "The burning labyrinth was created by the first dragon," Ash Scale explained. "It tests not your strength but your spirit. Inside you'll face fire, yes, but also visions, memories, fears. The maze will show you who you truly are. At its center lies the shrine of the first dragon. Take one scale from the shrine and return. That is all. That is all." Taemin asked. Stormwing made a sound like thunder. It might have been a laugh. "No human has entered the labyrinth in 3,000 years. The last one never returned." "Thank you for that," Taemin said dryly. Ash Scale touched his shoulder gently with one massive claw. "Remember, the labyrinth shows you truth. Face it. Do not run from it." Taemin nodded. He looked at Ember one last time, feeling her love and fear through their bond. Then he turned and walked into the cave. The heat hit him immediately. It was like walking into an oven. Sweat poured down his face. The tunnel stretched ahead, carved from black rock that pulsed with red veins of lava. The path split into 3 directions. No signs, no clues. Taemin chose the middle path. It sloped downward, deeper into the earth. The temperature rose. His shirt was already soaked with sweat. He pulled it off and kept walking. The tunnel opened into a chamber. In the center, floating in the air, was an image. It took Taemin a moment to recognize it. The image was him, younger, in military uniform, standing over the body of an enemy soldier. He remembered this moment, his first kill. The man had been trying to surrender, but Taemin's commanding officer had given the order. Taemin had followed it. The memory made him sick. "This is who you are," a voice whispered. It sounded like his own voice. "A killer, a man who follows orders without question. You have no honor." Taemin wanted to look away, wanted to run, but Ascale's words echoed in his mind. "Face the truth. Do not run." "Yes," he said to the image. "I did that. I followed orders I should not have followed. I was young and scared, and I made the wrong choice. But that does not have to be all I am." The image flickered and faded. The path forward appeared. Taemin continued deeper. The next chamber showed him arguing with Jiwoo. She was crying, begging him not to take another mercenary job. He was cold, dismissive, telling her to stop worrying about him. "You hurt everyone who cares about you," the voice said. "You push them away because you are afraid to let anyone close." This truth hurt more than the first. Taemin felt tears mixing with the sweat on his face. "Yes," he said, "I pushed her away. I was afraid that if I let her in, I would lose her, like I lost our parents. But being afraid is not an excuse. I hurt her. I was wrong." The image faded. The heat grew worse. His skin felt like it was burning, but there were no flames, just unbearable heat. The 3rd chamber nearly broke him. It showed Ember dying, not in the past, but now, in this moment. She was crying out for him, her small body crushed under rubble, and he was not there to save her. "This is your future," the voice hissed. "You will fail her, just like you failed everyone else. You should have stayed dead. You are not worthy of the bond." Taemin fell to his knees. The vision felt so real. He could feel her pain through the bond, feel her life slipping away. Every instinct screamed at him to run back, to find her, to save her. But then he remembered. This was a test. A vision. Not truth, but fear. He stood up, shaking. He looked at the image of dying Ember and spoke through the tears. "No, this is not truth. This is my fear. Yes, I might fail. Yes, I might not be strong enough. But I will try. Every day. I will try to be worthy of her trust. That is all anyone can do." The image shattered like glass. The heat suddenly stopped. Cool air washed over him. Ahead, light glowed, golden and warm. Taemin walked forward and entered the final chamber. It was beautiful. The walls were made of crystal that sang with soft music. In the center, on a pedestal of white stone, rested a single scale. It was larger than his hand, colored like a rainbow, shifting through every color imaginable. The scale of the first dragon. As Taemin reached for it, a presence filled the chamber, not threatening, ancient and vast like the ocean or the sky. A voice spoke, but it was not the cruel voice from before. This voice was gentle. Child of two worlds, it said, you have faced your truth, your shame, your fear, and you did not run. That takes courage. Who are you? Taemin asked. I am the memory of what was, the hope of what could be. Take the scale. You have earned it. Taemin picked up the scale. It was warm in his hand and light as air. The moment he touched it, power flowed through him. Not strength of body, but strength of spirit. He felt connected to something bigger than himself, to every guardian who had come before. The path back is not the path you took. The voice said, follow the light. A new tunnel opened in the wall. This one glowed with soft blue light. Taemin walked through it. The scale clutched in his hand. The tunnel led upward, spiraling back toward the surface. When he emerged from the cave, the dragons were waiting. Ember rushed to him immediately, her joy flooding through their bond. She circled around him, checking to make sure he was unhurt. Ash Scale approached, her ancient eyes warm. You have returned. Few expected it. Taemin held up the scale. In the sunlight, it shimmered like a star. Gasps came from the assembled dragons. Even Darkfang looked shocked. Impossible, Stormwing breathed. The scale only appears to those truly worthy. Taemin looked at the blue dragon. He was exhausted, his body covered in burns and sweat, but he met Stormwing's eyes without fear. I am not perfect, Taemin said. I have made mistakes. I have hurt people. I have been selfish and cold. But I am trying to be better. That is what the labyrinth taught me. Not be perfect, but to keep trying. Stormwing stared at him for a long moment. Then, slowly, the dragon lowered his head in a gesture of respect. I judge you too quickly, human. You have more courage than I gave you credit for. Even Darkfang seemed grudgingly impressed. One trial does not make a guardian, the black dragon said, but it is a start. Ash Scale smiled, an expression that transformed her ancient face. The council will vote, but I think the decision is already made. Welcome, Taemin. Welcome to the Dragon Guard. That night, Taemin sat with Ember on a cliff overlooking the floating mountains. The burns from the trial still marked his skin, adding to the silver scars he already carried. He felt different, not just physically, but inside. What are you thinking? Ember asked. I am thinking that a week ago, I was just a mercenary who did not care about anything. Now I am bonded to a dragon, and apparently part of some ancient warrior order. My life has gotten very strange. Ember made a sound like a laugh. Do you regret it? Taemin thought about it. Really thought about it. The pain, the trials, the weight of expectations. Then he thought about the bond, about purpose, about belonging to something that mattered. No, he said, I do not regret it. Ember pressed against him, warm and solid. Through their bond, he felt her happiness. It filled something inside him that had been empty for a very long time. Stormwing landed nearby, his blue scales gleaming in the light of the 3 moons that were rising. Ash Scale asked for you, the dragon said. There is news about the raiders who attacked your ship. Taemin stood. What news? They have returned, with more ships, and weapons that should not exist, weapons designed to kill dragons. Ice filled Taemin's veins. How is that possible? That is what we need to find out. Stormwing said grimly. Your trial is over, Guardian. But it seems your real test is just beginning. The war room beneath the Dragon Council chambers was ancient. Maps carved in crystal showed Drakenheim and the space around it. Red lights blinked across the display, marking enemy positions. 20 ships, all armed with weapons that glowed with sickly green light. Taemin studied the tactical display. With a soldier's eye, the Krell had positioned themselves well. They blocked the main trade routes and surrounded the planet from 3 sides. A professional military formation, not a raider attack. They are organized, he said. Too organized. Someone is commanding them. Ash Scale stood beside him, her massive form somehow fitting in the underground chamber. Our scouts confirm it. A human vessel leads them. It transmits orders in human military codes. The words hit Taemin like a punch. Humans are helping them? It appears so, Stormwing said, entering the chamber, which raises the question, can we trust any human? Taemin met the Blue Dragon's gaze. No, you cannot trust all humans, but you can trust me. Let me contact my sister. She has connections. She can find out who is behind this. Dark Fong emerged from the shadows. And if your sister is part of this conspiracy? She is not, Taemin said firmly. You do not know that. Yes, I can. She is my sister. I know her heart. Ash Scale raised one massive claw for silence. Enough. We do not have time for doubt. Taemin, contact your sister. The rest of us will prepare our defenses. Taemin used the dragon communication system to reach Jiwoo. Her face appeared on the screen, and relief flooded her expression when she saw him. Taemin, I have been trying to reach you for days. Where have you been? It is a long story. Jiwoo, I need your help. Someone is selling weapons to raiders. Weapons designed to kill dragons. I need to know who. Her eyes widened. Dragons? You are involved with dragons now. Yes. Please, Jiwoo. This is important. She nodded, her scientist mind already working. I will check the research databases. There are only a few companies with the technology to create anti-dragon weapons. Give me an hour. While waiting, Taemin joined the dragons on the surface. They were preparing for battle in ways he had never imagined. Young dragons practiced aerial maneuvers, while elders crafted barriers of energy around the planet. It was beautiful and terrifying. Ember found him standing on a cliff, watching the preparations. You are worried, she said. Yes. If humans are behind this, it means my people see you as enemies, as things to use and exploit. It makes me ashamed. You are not responsible for all humans, Taemin, just for yourself. Maybe, but I want to fix this. I want to show them that dragons are not enemies. Jiwoo's call came back faster than expected. Her face was pale with anger. I found it, she said. A military research division called Project Skybreaker. They have been studying dragon biology in secret for years. Their goal is to create weapons to control or kill dragons. They see dragons as a threat to human expansion. Taemin felt sick. Who leads it? A general named Quan. He has powerful supporters in the government. Taemin, this is bigger than just raiders. This is a planned military operation. Can you go public with this information? I already did. I leaked everything to the media. But it will take time for public opinion to turn. Days, maybe weeks. Do you have that long? An alarm blared through Drakenheim. The Krell fleet was moving. They were attacking. No, Taemin said. We do not have time at all. He ran to the war room where dragons were already gathering. Ash Scale stood at the center, her voice calm despite the chaos. They are targeting the nursery caves, she said, where the young and the eggs are kept. We must defend them at all costs. Stormwing spread his wings. We fly to battle. For our home. For our young. Wait, Taemin said. All eyes turned to him. You are thinking like dragons. Noble, brave, straightforward. But the enemy is thinking like humans. Like soldiers. They want you to defend the nursery. It is a trap. Dark Fong snarled. You think we would abandon our children? No. I think you should defend them smartly. Look at the formation. Taemin pointed to the display. They are leaving their command ship exposed. If we strike there first, fast and hard, we cut off their communications. The rest of their fleet becomes confused, disorganized. Then we defend the nursery. Ash Scale studied the display. A bold strategy, and risky. War is risk, Taemin said. But this is a calculated one. Trust me. Stormwing looked at the other dragons. The Guardian has tactical experience we lack. I say we follow his plan. One by one, the dragons nodded. Even Dark Fawn gave grudging agreement. Then we fly, Ash Scale said. Taemin, you will ride with Stormwing. Coordinate the attack. Moments later, Taemin found himself on Stormwing's back, high above Drakenheim. The blue dragon scales were warm beneath him, muscles bunching and releasing with each powerful wing beat. Around them flew dozens of other dragons, a rainbow of colors against the purple sky. Ember flew beside them, smaller but fierce. Through their bond, Taemin felt her determination. She would fight to protect her home. The Krell fleet came into view, 20 ships, bristling with weapons. The command vessel was larger, hanging back from the others. Taemin marked it in his mind. That one, he said to Stormwing, pointing. Fast strike. Do not give them time to react. The blue dragon roared, and the sound echoed across the sky. Other dragons answered. Then they dove. The Krell ships opened fire. Green beams lanced through the air, designed to pierce dragon scales. Several dragons cried out as the weapons hit them. But they did not stop. They could not stop. Taemin directed the attack, like a conductor leading an orchestra. Left wing, hit their engines. Right wing, take out their weapons. Center, follow me to the bridge. Dragons moved in perfect coordination. They had not fought together in centuries, but the old instincts remained, and Taemin's tactical mind filled the gaps in their knowledge. Stormwing reached the command ship. His claws tore through the hull-like paper. Taemin saw figures inside scrambling, panicking. Then Ember unleashed her fire. Not wild flames, but focused heat that melted metal and destroyed systems. The command ship went dark. Its weapons stopped firing. Its engines died. Now! Taemin shouted. To the nursery! The dragons turned as one, racing back toward Drakenheim. Behind them, the Krell fleet floundered without leadership. Some ships tried to retreat. Others fired wildly, hitting their own allies. At the nursery caves, a smaller group of Krell ships was attempting to break through the defensive barriers. But with the dragons returning and the main fleet in chaos, they had no chance. The battle was over in minutes. The Krell ships that could still fly turned and ran. The others were captured or destroyed. Taemin slid off Stormwing's back, his legs shaking. He had ridden into battle on a dragon. He had helped coordinate a space battle. His old mercenary life seemed like a dream from another person's memories. Stormwing shifted back to his normal size and looked at Taemin with new respect. You fought well, Guardian. Your tactics saved many lives. We fought well, Taemin corrected. Together, Ash Scale landed nearby, her silver scales scorched but her eyes bright. The young are safe, the eggs are safe, and we have prisoners to question. Later, in the captured command ship, they found the truth. Records showed everything. General Kwan's orders, the weapons development, the plan to capture dragons and harvest their DNA for human military use. But they also found something else. Captain Haewon, the woman who had hired Taemin, was there, alive. She had been working undercover, trying to stop the conspiracy from inside. When she saw Taemin, she smiled weakly. I knew you were too stubborn to die. You knew about the eggs, Taemin said. You were protecting them. Someone had to. The government wanted them as weapons. I wanted to get them home. She looked at the dragons. Did I succeed? Ash Scale stepped forward. You did, and for that, you have our gratitude. That night, the Dragon Council met again. This time, their decision was unanimous. They would open formal diplomatic relations with humanity, not with the corrupt generals and conspirators, but with the people who stood for honor. Taemin was named the first guardian of the new era. His duty would be to find other humans worthy of the bond, to rebuild the Dragon Guard. As he stood before the council, Ember at his side, Taemin thought about how far he had come. From a mercenary who cared about nothing to a guardian protecting an entire species. It was strange, terrifying, and it felt absolutely right. Legacy rekindled. The human station called Outpost Sanctuary floated in neutral space, a place where different species met to trade and talk. Taemin had never been here before, but he knew it well from reports. It was one of the few places where humans and other species could meet without the politics of governments getting in the way. Now he approached it on the back of Stormwing, with Ember flying beside them and 3 other dragons following. The sight of dragons in human space would cause panic, or wonder, maybe both. Are you ready for this? Stormwing asked. No, Taemin admitted, but we need to do it anyway. The station's communication channels exploded with chatter as they came into view. Ships scattered, alarms blared, but no one fired. News of Jiwoo's leak had spread across human space. Everyone knew about Project Skybreaker now. Everyone knew what some humans had tried to do to the dragons. A voice came over the comm. Unidentified dragons. This is Station Commander Park. Please state your intentions. Taemin activated his own comm. Commander Park. This is Taemin, former mercenary, now guardian of the Dragon's Guard. We come in peace. We request permission to dock and meet with human representatives. Silence. Then, Guardian? The Dragon's Guard is a myth. Not anymore. Will you let us dock? Another pause. Dock at Base 7. But any hostile action, and we will defend ourselves. Understood. We have no intention of hostility. The docking bay was massive, built to handle large cargo ships. It barely fit Stormwing and the other dragons. As they landed, Taemin could see people gathering behind protective barriers. Curious, afraid, armed. Then he saw Jiwoo pushing through the crowd. She ran to him the moment he dismounted, throwing her arms around him. You idiot, she said, her voice muffled against his shoulder. You died. I saw the reports. You died. I got better, Taemin said, hugging her back. She pulled back and looked at him. Really looked. Her eyes widened when she saw the silver scars that glowed faintly on his skin. What happened to you? A lot. Too much to explain here. He turned to Ember, who approached cautiously. Jiwoo, this is Ember, my bonded dragon. Ember, this is Jiwoo, my sister. Ember lowered her head in greeting. Jiwoo stared, her scientist mind clearly overwhelmed. Then she laughed. It was the sound of someone who had seen too much strangeness and decided to just accept it. You bonded with a dragon. Of course you did. Nothing about you is ever simple. The station commander arrived with a security team. Park was a stern woman in her 50s, her uniform crisp and her expression carefully neutral. Taemin, she said, the human government has requested your arrest. They claim you stole military assets and conspired with hostile aliens. Taemin met her gaze steadily. The only thing I stole was dragon eggs from slavers. And dragons are not hostile. They were attacked by humans who wanted to use them as weapons. So I have heard, Park said. The leak has caused quite a scandal. General Quan and his supporters are under investigation. But that does not change the fact that there are powerful people who see you as a traitor. Stormwing stepped forward, his presence filling the bay. When he spoke, his voice echoed in everyone's mind. Taemin is no traitor. He is a guardian. He saved dragon lives at the cost of his own. He helped us defend our home. He has more honor than those who call him criminal. The security team raised their weapons nervously. Park held up a hand to stop them. I am not here to arrest anyone, she said carefully. I am here to listen. The question is, what do you want? Taemin took a breath. This was the important part. The reason they had come. We want peace. We want humans and dragons to be allies again, like we were thousands of years ago. We want to rebuild the Dragon's Guard, not as warriors of conquest, but as protectors, guardians of both species. That is a nice dream, Park said. But how do you make it real? By finding the right people. Humans who have true honor, true courage. The bond does not form with just anyone. It chooses those who will sacrifice for others. I want to find them. Over the next days, Taemin addressed the station assembly. He told them everything. About his death and resurrection. About the bond. About the history humans had forgotten. About the battle against the Krell. Jiwoo helped him present the evidence. The dragon technology that had saved his life. The ancient records from the Hall of Memory. The weapons Project Skybreaker had created. Public opinion began to shift. Some people were afraid. Some were angry. But many were curious. Hopeful. They wanted to believe that humans could be better than greedy generals and corrupt politicians. Volunteers began to arrive. Hundreds of them. People from across human space who wanted a chance to bond with dragons, soldiers, rescue workers, teachers, scientists, all kind of people. Taemin interviewed them one by one. Mostly turned away. The bond required something special, not strength or intelligence, but a quality of heart that was rare. Then he met Sujin. She was a rescue worker who had saved 17 people from a collapsed habitat. She had gone back into the burning structure again and again, even when others told her to stop. She had nearly died on the last trip. When Taemin asked her why she kept going, she looked confused by the question. Because there were still people inside, she said, simply. Taemin smiled. He recognized that answer. It was the same reason he had thrown himself on an explosive for a dragon he had just met. He introduced her to a young dragon named Brightscale. The moment they met, light flared between them. The bond formed instantly, pure and strong. Sujin gasped, her hand going to her chest. I can feel her, her emotions, her thoughts. Welcome to the Dragon's Guard, Taemin said. Over the following weeks, he found 3 more. A pilot named Dongha, who had stayed with his damaged ship to protect evacuees while ordering everyone else to abandon ship. A medic named Yuna, who had treated enemy wounded during a border conflict, risking her own life. A mechanic named Minsu, who had given up his own escape pod to save a family he did not know. Each one bonded with a dragon. Each one became a guardian. The ceremony took place on Drakenheim, under the light of 3 suns. The new guardians stood with their dragons before the council. Taemin stood with Ember, pride filling his chest. Ashscale addressed them all, her ancient voice carrying across the mountains. For thousands of years, the bond between our species was broken. Today, it is remade, not out of necessity or war, but out of choice. You have chosen to stand together, to protect together, to be more together than you could ever be apart. The guardians placed their hands over their hearts, feeling the bonds that connected them to their dragons. Taemin felt Ember's presence like a warm fire, constant and comforting. Stormwing approached Taemin after the ceremony. You have done well, Guardian. The silence between our species has ended. This is just the beginning. Taemin replied. There will be others, more guardians, more bonds. We will build something that lasts. I believe you will, Stormwing said. Then, in a gesture that surprised everyone, the great blue dragon lowered his head to Taemin. You have my respect, human, and my friendship. Taemin touched the dragon's scaled snout gently. And you have mine, dragon. That night, alarms sounded across Drakenheim. Not attack alarms, discovery alarms. The deep space sensors had detected something at the edge of known space. Energy signatures that matched records from the Great Silence, the ancient enemy that had once tried to destroy all life. They were stirring again. Taemin stood with the other guardians, looking at the tactical displays. The threat was distant. Months away, maybe years. But it was real. Sujin looked nervous. Are we ready for this? We have only just begun training. No one is ever truly ready, Taemin said. But we will face it together. Humans and dragons, just like the guardians of old. Dongha straightened his shoulders. Then we train harder. We prepare. We become worthy of the bond. The others nodded. Fear was there, yes, but also determination. They had been chosen for this. They had chosen this. They would not back down. Taemin walked outside, needing air and space to think. Ember followed, as she always did. They climbed to their favorite cliff, the one overlooking the floating mountains. Jiwoo found them there. She had decided to stay on Drakenheim, studying dragon biology with permission from the council. She sat beside her brother, looking up at the stars. You know, she said quietly, when we were kids, you always talk about finding something worth fighting for, something that mattered. I remember. I think you found it. Taemin looked at Ember, then at the other dragons flying in the distance. He thought about the new guardians, about the bond, about the threat coming from the darkness of space. Yes, he said, I think I did. Ember pressed against him, her warmth a constant comfort. Through their bond, he felt her confidence, her love, her absolute certainty that they would face whatever came together. The stars wheeled overhead. Somewhere out there, ancient threats were waking. But here, on Drakenheim, something ancient and good had awakened too. The Dragon's Guard had returned. Once, humans and dragons had stood together against the darkness. They had forgotten that bond, let it slip away into myth and legend. But Taemin had awakened it with one simple act of sacrifice. He had thrown himself on an explosive to save a creature he did not know. He had chosen honor over survival, and in doing so, he had reminded both species of what they could be together. The honor that once lived in silence now echoed across the stars. And when the darkness came again, it would find humans and dragons ready, standing together, fighting together, unbreakable,